Namaste everyone, welcome to Millionaire GRE. I am Punit. This is the second video on statistics. Through this playlist, we are covering the chapter statistics from the very scratch and comprehensively. In the previous video, we discussed about the concepts mean, median and mode. Through this video, we will be covering the concepts range and standard deviation. So let's get started. The first concept that we will be discussing is range. Range is essentially highest value minus lowest value. In a given set of numbers, range is highest minus lowest or maximum value minus the minimum value. Now I want you to pause the screen and give this question a try. I hope you have done so. Now let's solve it together. In this question, we have to find the range for both chamber A and chamber B. Range is highest minus lowest. Here the highest or maximum value is 7 and the minimum value is 2. Range is 5. Similarly for chamber B, range is highest minus lowest or maximum minus minimum. Here the maximum value is minus 2, not minus 7. And the minimum value is minus 7. Minus 2 plus 7 gives you 5 as the answer. The range in both the cases is 5. From these two operations, we realize something very important about range, and that is that range is always non-negative. We are essentially subtracting the lowest term from the highest term. From a bigger term, we are subtracting a smaller term. How can that ever be negative? And also take note, I have used the word non-negative. I did not say range is always positive. I said range is always non-negative because there's a difference between positive and non-negative. 0 is neither positive nor negative. So when I say non-negative, I include a 0. Non-negative means 0 or positive. Range can be 0 if all the values are equal. Range can be anything positive. So range is always non-negative. The next concept that we are going to discuss is standard deviation. Standard deviation is a number which measures how deviated or how scattered or how dispersed the terms are from the mean value. If the terms are more deviated from the mean, standard deviation is more. If the terms are less deviated or less scattered from the mean or closer to the mean, standard deviation is less. Again, standard deviation measures how deviated or dispersed or scattered the terms are from the mean value. If the terms are more deviated, standard deviation is more. If the terms are less deviated or closer to the mean, standard deviation is also less.
Approach, my friend.
Iron gentleman.
I have brought you.
This giant man,
He came from the sky,
yes, over.
the black one.
When she knows Sebastian,
The winged shadow.
what is giant man?
He came from the sky and...
Now I want you to pause the screen and give this question a try. Hope you have done so. Now let's solve it together. We are asked to compare the standard deviations of list A and list B. If you talk about list A, we have to first find the mean. For this case, mean is 3. Also you will notice that here the terms are in AP 1, 3, 5. It's an arithmetic progression because there's a constant difference of 2 between any two consecutive terms. In AP, median is equal to its mean, or mean is equal to median in any AP. This we had discussed in the previous video. Here mean is 3, distance of 1 from 3 is 2, distance of 5 from 3 is 2. In list B, again the terms are in AP, so the median will be the mean. 1 is at a distance of 4, 9 is at a distance of 4. So obviously in list B, the terms are more deviated from the mean. Hence, list B for day 1 has the greater standard deviation. If we talk about day 2, List A, again 3 is the mean, distance is 2, distance is 2. If we talk about list B, mean is 4, this distance is 2, this distance is 2. Here, in both the lists, the terms are equally scattered from the mean or equally deviated from the mean. So standard deviation is equal for both the lists. If we talk about day 3, 3 is the mean here, distance is 2, distance is 2. 103 is the mean, distance is 2, distance is 2. Again, the terms are equally dispersed from the mean. The terms are equally deviated from the mean, hence the standard deviation for both the lists is equal. Standard deviation does not depend on what the individual values are. It only depends on the distance from the mean. Obviously, in list B here, the terms are much bigger than the terms in list A. But standard deviation does not depend on what the terms are. It only depends on the distance from the mean. In GRE, you will never be asked to find the standard deviation of a given list. For instance, you will not get a question in which you have these 3 terms and you are asked to find the actual value of standard deviation of this list. You only need to know the concept of standard deviation, and that is, if you increase the dispersion from the mean, standard deviation increases. You do not need to know the method to find standard deviation. But let's see how to find standard deviation. If you are given these 3 terms, the first step is to find the mean. The mean of these 3 terms is 3 because median is equal to mean. For the second step, you find the difference between mean and each term of the list. So 3 minus 1 is 2, 3 minus 3 is 0, 3 minus 5 is minus 2. It doesn't matter if you do 1 minus 3, 3 minus 3 and 5 minus 3, or you do mean minus each term, 3 minus 1, 3 minus 3, 3 minus 5. It doesn't matter because in the next step we are squaring each term. 2 square is 4, 0 square is 0, minus 2 square is 4. Even if you had done 5 minus 3 is equal to 2, you would have still ended up at 4 when we square 2. Then the next step is to find the average of these terms. Average of 404 is 8 upon 3. The sum of these 3 terms is 8, the total 3 terms, so 8 upon 3. Then you take the square root and that gives you standard deviation. These are the 5 steps you can follow to find the standard deviation of any list, but take note, this is not required for the GRE. One more thing, if all the elements are same, standard deviation is 0. This means if all the terms are 10, 10, 10, standard deviation is 0. If all the terms are equal, standard deviation of that list is 0. With this, we have come to the conclusion of this video. In this video, we covered 2 very important concepts, range and standard deviation. In the next video, we are going to discuss some important properties about mean, median, mode, range and standard deviation through a table. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching this.